So we got a Ninja 250. She's wrecked.
What's up guys, Benjamin Outdoors. Today I have another project here. This is a 2008 Kawasaki Ninja 250. I paid less for the bike than the CCs. I paid $200 for this bike. But it does not have a title, it's wrecked, and it doesn't run. So it's a pretty big project, but I'm actually turning it into a cafe racer, so it's gonna be a really, really neat project. So I hope y'all stick around and enjoy the video.
So I got her, no title, doesn't run. It was turning over. I put a little bit of ether in the air box and it started up a little bit, but as of right now, it doesn't start underneath its own power. So we're gonna try to get it running. So I'm actually going to check the condition of the battery right now. I had a company send me a battery tester to test out. I will put the link in the description for it. That anymore. So I got the air box out. So now it's just the carburetors. Carbs. Just gonna throw some paper towels in there and then clean those puppies. So I'm gonna have to chop it close to the mount for the tank. All right, so I got the bar to the seat. I might heat these up and bend these out slightly and bend it back. And then I have to bend these down so it sits on the railing. So I'm going to cut off both these places. I'm gonna weld some tabs that go from the bar all the way over, right in front of the air filter. And I'm gonna try to figure out where I'll put all this stuff. Probably do some above the carburetors. So I got the tabs on, and so I'm just gonna mock it up, tack it on. So I'm gonna make a mount. I'm gonna weld this up to mount the ECU on. So I got this for the ECU. It sits on here. This is gonna sit up in there. And that's gonna curve around the frame. I'm gonna weld it to the frame. These right here. And so these relays sit on in here on the bottom of the ECU. So I got it propped up. ECU. Retrofitting a bracket for this. I'm going to take this piece off. So that's the mock-up. Mount, about to tack it down. About to weld that right there. Bracket. So I got this bracket made. I'm about to tack it on there. This is for the seat, bolts to the seat. So I got this plate sanded down. All right, so I'm gonna probably trim this up. I'm working on getting these welds cleaned up. Honestly, my welds weren't looking that great, and well, I decided to Bondo it and get that perfect shape. So I got some good notches in there. I just cleaned it up with the grinder and some mineral spirits. I'm about to TIG weld, build that back up. So I welded up and built it back up. Now I'm not the best aluminum welder yet, so I got to trim it down. I got new clip-ons. And I'm not sure what the guy was thinking before me, but I guess he didn't take the nut off, and so he drilled out the whole entire top of the bolt. So I can't really get this off because of this bend. I can't really get it off. So, and plus I can't even get that bar end off anyway. So I'm gonna chop it right here and chop it right there and see what go from there. There we go. So I got the new grips. So I'm gonna use the hairspray trick. And then I can get a correct position to drill my hole on the back for the locking. It's right here. This has a lock to where it holds it on the bar. And I'm gonna drill a hole in the bar itself for that. So I actually put some gasket maker on there so I can, when I put it up against it, it will leave a mark so I can drill right there. There it is, I'm gonna drill right there. Bit in place. There's my hole. So this one actually ended up breaking off this little notch. So I'm just gonna put some electrical tape. So I got the 7-inch LED. It's really slim, but there is no mounting brackets on the back. So I gotta try to make some. But it fits nice and slim inside of the Cafe Racer fairing. So I'm probably gonna have to drill holes right here to grip the top of the light, put a nut on one side. So I'm gonna have to Dremel a canal for the bolt to go through, and then drill a hole evenly on each side. So I got this bracket on. It is absolutely ugly right now. Honestly, I'm kind of tired of working on this thing. So I'm just making a rough bracket, and I'm gonna clean it up and Dremel it and cut that, and I'm gonna clean everything up. So I'm gonna put some RTV around. Put this RTV right here. They're gonna meet around here. And then I'm gonna come off here, mount the headlight, and then the fairing. So I'm gonna weld up this brace right here. So I need to make this brace, this bracket. All right, so I'm just gonna weld this. Pump. So it won't quite fit over it. I'm gonna use this pipe expander and expand it a little bit. About 9 inches. Make this bracket. So I made this cardboard cutout, and I'm gonna mount this right there. So the bracket. So it's gonna sit up in there like this. Alright, so I got the bracket on there. Here's the bad sprocket. And this hub has a broken stud. So I ordered a new one off eBay for 20 bucks. Make
sure it's all lubricated in there, nice and greased. Put the new sprocket on. Straight. That's kinked up. That's bad. That's bad. This chain is awful. What's up, guys? So I went to CarburetorJetKit.com, did the carb calculator, and with the pod intake and the aftermarket slip-on exhaust, it was saying that I needed the 108 mains, 40 pilot, and gave me 2 shims per needle. So I'm going to install this real quick and hopefully it'll run perfectly. Ooh. Here's the top of the carburetor. Here's the needle. So I got those 2 washers on there. Pull the... And I'm just going to do the exact same thing over here, and then I'm going to put the pilot and the main jet in. Make it snug, and I've actually made this screwdriver specifically for carbs. I grinded down the sides to make it fit where the pilot jet is, because most of the time screwdrivers will not fit down in there. And install my 40.
So here you can see the right cylinder lobes are pointed up at a top dead center position, and both the marks are horizontal on the cams themselves. And so I'm going to make sure to put it back in that position as I put the cams back in. So the valves were way out of spec. The valve gaps were way larger than they should have been, and that's probably due to not having a valve adjustment. Typically they get valve adjustments around 20,000 miles, and just I'm assuming that this thing never had one because they were so out of spec. So I'm actually taking each valve shim and I am measuring it to get the thickness, and then however far off from spec it is, I'm just increasing the shim size corresponding to each one, and so it raises the bucket up to where there's the correct valve gap.
Right, so I got these carburetors cleaned and jetted. So I'm going to install it now. So I'm going to take the tank, I'm going to cut these tabs off the fairings. I'm going to wire wheel it. I'm going to bond it to where it's smooth. Where it's a nice curvature, nice smooth curvature over the whole entire thing. I got the rough outline of it. I'm just doing touch-ups at this point. And I'm gonna sand those down, and then I'm gonna hand sand it instead of with a power, and I'm gonna get these butter smooth. Oh, I mean, I'm touching the tank up, but look at the weather right now. Alright, so we got the tank, upper fairing, and the tail section all painted. So now I just gotta let them dry out and we can install them.
Honestly, the clear coat looked like it came out really good. Other than a few imperfections that got in the clear coat, I guess while it was drying. But in this environment, it's kind of hard to keep all the dust and particles out. So it'll be good enough for me. I mean, that's my first ever paint job, so I am not complaining. So I'm gonna take these upstairs and let them fully cure. They've been sitting here for a few hours. So I'm gonna take it upstairs and let it cure inside. So I don't know if I want to mount it here, or if I want to mount it there. But I'm just gonna start cutting the form for it, and then I'll go from there. Same size as a license plate, and I cut this bracket, this out of cardboard. All right, so I'm gonna make a bracket that bolts on those 4 bolts and comes down, and that holds the taillights too, and possibly the tag. I'm gonna finish making this bracket. All right, so I made the bracket. So I'm gonna clean these edges up and drill holes. I'm gonna blend these a little bit better and clean it up a little bit. So I'm gonna install my brake light and tag holder. So it's either that or that. Not quite sure yet what I want to go with. So the paint turned out pretty good, pretty glossy. I got the clear coat on there. I don't even think I'm gonna use this tag holder, so I'm just painting it cuz. But I'm hoping these levers turn out to be pretty durable. I wanted to do powder coat, but I do not have a powder coating set up yet. So we'll see how durable these regular paint job turns out. Probably stick it right about there.
kickstand, where these springs sit, it actually broke off, and so they could easily slide off.
I'm gonna weld a lip up here. So I sandblasted the blue anodized cap. Halfway done with it. I'm just letting it fill back up. I'm gonna finish that thing up. So I didn't have any leftover professional paint in a can, so I'm just using this flat black enamel, and then I'm going to spray it with the actual clear coat. Because this main primer coat didn't look very black. Good Lord. Okay. So there's the old oil filter. So ideally this needs to be powder coated, but I don't have a powder coating set right now, so gotta make do with what I got. Stator back in there. Got the new stator cover on. And it looks good. These are going to be the brake lights. Let's see, that's the... So just going to wire them up. Alright, so I got the brake lights right here. And so that is the length of that. So I'm actually gonna shorten this wire a lot and basically run these right next to each other into some bullet connectors. This is the negative. So I'm gonna wire up the other side. I just folded it over like this and burned off the end and then twisted it together. So I got this. And now on this side, I'm gonna put a soldering connection right here onto the main wiring harness, and then here is gonna go to each ground. So I can plug it in. So I got all three of my connectors. This is my ground, positive, my positive. Woo! And I'm going to heat it up. Got all my connectors right here. What? Now, brake lights. Oh yeah. So I'm gonna figure out which one's which. So I'm gonna test this out. So the top one is low beam, side one is high beam. Brights are on, I'm flipping it back and forth, so it should show when 12 volt is coming. So I'm gonna switch it to volts. It's highs, off, highs. One up toward the top, and I need to move this red prong into there. I'm looking at the back of this to see what everything goes to. So far I got like 4 wires connected. Just gonna finish connecting them. The only wire I didn't use was this, and it's the fuel light, because I'm going to end up putting a petcock on the bike that has a reserve, and so you don't have to worry about having a fuel light, because the original had 3 wires to gauge the fuel, and I don't know how to get that to work on here, so I'm just putting a petcock with a reserve. So I got the new odometer wired up. Let's go plug it in. So I got this wire that's severed right here. Now I'm going to put the upper fairing on. One more thing to make it street legal, I cut a bigger hole inside the grip. So unfortunately the neutral light's not working. I even switched the pressure switch in the case, and I just can't figure out why it's not displaying neutral, but honestly, it's not a big deal. Instead of having a temperature gauge or a warning on here, I'm just gonna have the temperature gauge on here, and then I'm gonna get a longer speedo cable. But for the most part, the build is done. There's nothing else. I got a new battery already. I mean, everything is street legal right now. I know y'all gonna hate me, but I also did not put turn signals. As you can see, there's no resistance, so it's just being solid. There's no turn signals because legally, all you have to do is use your hands, the signals with your hands, here at least. So I don't have to worry about that. But I might add them later. But overall, this is gonna be it for right now. Here we are with the Ninja we just finished, and there's a few things that I did to it I didn't put on video. Is I installed the temperature gauge right here on the radiator cap because there is not one on the odometer, and
Since there is not a fuel light, I got a new petcock, and I'm going to be installing this. It has a reserve on it. And the title situation. So the title situation, I have to go to a website. I will kind of show y'all what it looks like, but I got to fill out my information, the seller information, and information on the bike itself to apply for a bonded title. But it isn't too difficult. You pay a little money and you get a bonded title, as long as it's not stolen or has a lien on it and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff I wish I would have powder coated on this bike, but I don't have that equipment yet. I will get that soon enough because just the paint job is not durable enough. But for this bike, it's okay. The bike looks great. There's a little more equipment I need to get, and I'll show y'all that later. But let's do a walk around, and then I'll show y'all me riding it. The motor is so much quieter than it used to be.